Hello everyone and welcome back. It's been a horrible couple of days for Newcastle United fans on social media in terms of having European aspirations. I think everyone's watched the games yesterday. At the time you're probably celebrating, looking at a scoreline like Atlanta beating Liverpool 3-0. You're probably celebrating good over the moon about it, but the reality is that actually screws Newcastle over quite a lot, and it makes it much harder for us to get European football this season. We've still got to get top 7 to get our spot in Europe, but it now actually removes the 8th spot altogether. So I was actually quite surprised when I was speaking to Newcastle fans about this, about how almost uneducated people are. They just don't understand this new UEFA scheme that's came in place this season. So I wanted to make this video now because based on how things have been going for us, we can actually still get Europe of 8th in the league, which a lot of people don't understand properly. So we'll mention how that can happen in this video. I want to talk you through it and just to make sure everyone watching this is a bit aware about it, so we can walk out with this video and have this conversation about where Newcastle could finish, because 8th on the card could still get Newcastle Europe at this moment of time. However, we're in massive trouble. We need City to basically win the Champions League now. We need Villa to win the Conference League as well, and I'll explain why. But this new scheme this season from UEFA has been put in place, so it's based on the top 2 countries. So based on how well teams do in Europe, the top 2 countries with teams left in Europe, you get points based on the further you progress in competitions. It would then go back into our league. So 5th in the Premier League will become a Champions League spot, which means the 6th will be a Europa League and 7th be a Conference League. And you think, well, actually, Adam, well, how does 8th get involved? I'll explain just more, but 8th does get involved because of our domestic cups. But speaking on the topic before, Italy's going to finish first because of how many teams are in the Europa League. Italy has so many teams left in the competition, so they are guaranteed to be first. But second is going to be juggled between England and Germany. Now, if you have been keeping up to date with the Champions League and the Europa League, that's not good. Because one, Bayern Munich's in the Champions League, where it's at a bit of a knife's edge where it could go either way. But you're thinking, because Bayern's at home, it's probably going to go Bayern's way. If you had to put money on someone, you're going to stick with Bayern and say that they're going to just get past Arsenal. If you look at the Europa League, what German teams are still left in there? We have Bayer Leverkusen, who smashed West Ham, absolutely smashed them. So they're going to get past them, a team that is unbeaten in all games this season, domestic and league-wise. They've been unbeaten all season long. So you're probably going to expect them to win the Europa League if Liverpool goes out Atlanta. That's not the odds-on favourites going out to Atlanta. So you're going to have to back Bayer Leverkusen after they get past West Ham. And other than that, Dortmund's still in the competition, who lost 2-1 to Atletico Madrid. But they've been smashed by Madrid. So chances are they're probably still going to go out, but they have kept themselves in it. And a team that we've seen this season, you go away to Dortmund Stadium, they've got an unbelievable home record. So that one, to be fair, is still on a bit of a nice edge. So all 3 of those German teams still got quite a high chance of going through, with at least 2 of them most likely to actually head into the competition. So because of that, we then had to rely on Man City. So that's on a nice edge again with Real Madrid. But you probably expect City to get past them. You then need City to win the Champions League. All the English teams at that point are going to be out of the Europa League and Liverpool don't go through. Aston Villa, you probably expect to win the Conference League, so you get a little bit of pointage from there, but you're going to rely heavily on Manchester City to do the full work for us. So that puts a massive spanner on our works, because it'll be Italy and Germany as the 2 qualifying nations, so they'll get the extra Champions League spot and we won't. So we basically need Liverpool to kick their arses on, we need City to kick their arses on, we need Arsenal, desperately need Arsenal to knock Bayern out, we desperately need that to happen. And you might be asking, well, Adam, you mentioned before 8th spot doesn't matter, so how does this come into play? Now, the reason why 8th spot matters is because of our domestic competition. So based on how our domestic laws work, because of the fact that Liverpool's won the Carabao Cup, they're going to finish top 4 regardless, so that doesn't matter for them. So that European spot hasn't opened up, and that then leads into the FA Cup. So let's say now Manchester City wins the FA Cup. Because of the fact they are already a Champions League spot, those 2 Europa League spaces in the domestic competition has to go then into the league. So if England has that top 5 Champions League, then 6 for Europa League and 7 for Conference League, it then means 7 has to become Europa League. So that means 8 then has to come Conference League. So it opens up an extra spot because of domestic cups. So 6 and 7 become Europa League and 8 becomes Conference League based on how the cup competitions work. So we basically need City to win the FA Cup, and we need England to beat Germany in the qualifying nations in the Champions League and Europa League. So we need our teams to do well. We need Arsenal to go to Bayern Munich and to get a result there, and we need City to get past Madrid, and then we're probably going to be there after that. We've got to make sure our English teams do well, and as it stands, we need a big second leg from them, is what I'm saying. So we need them to kick their arses on. We need them to do something. Otherwise, Newcastle are going to have to rely on getting top 7, which, if you look at the league table now, I still think it's quite attainable. But my issue being, I'm a bit worried by Chelsea. I'm going to be honest. I know they've dropped a lot of points this season, and I watched them, and I don't think they're very good. But I'm still thinking that's a team that's probably going to knock on Newcastle's door, and if we don't turn up in these big matches, I think it's a team that's going to potentially kick us out. In terms of teams above us, I still think West Ham is going to drop out. I don't rate West Ham that much. I think they probably are going to drop out the top 7, top 8, to be honest. But Chelsea worries me somewhat. So if Newcastle don't pick up these big results, it's a big ask to get you up. It is a big ask. So we've got to keep an eye on that. But just typically, you actually look at how England would have done it if the schema took place over the past 7 seasons. We would have qualified in 6 of the last 7 seasons. So it's typical now that English teams haven't done well. Now, we do have to blame ourselves somewhat because we didn't qualify at all after the Champions League. If we had dropped into the Europa League, we had a decent amount of points going on there. But because of the fact that for the first time in Champions League history, 2 English teams finished bottom, being us and Manchester United, that is sent a lot of points towards Germany's way. We just haven't had that many points in the English grand scheme of things. So now I'm asking, please Arsenal, please Man City, you two are going to have to turn it, because Liverpool's messed it up. West Ham have been battered by Leverkusen. Villa, to be fair, are still doing their job quite well, but because it's a Conference League, you won't get that many points compared to the likes of the Champions League. We need Arsenal to beat Bayern, and we need City to beat Real. Those are the 2 key results that we need going our way. Then after that, we need a team that is already in the Champions League to win the FA Cup, which is essentially only City can do that, because Man U are not getting it. So yeah, big ask now. We've got to turn up. We've got to make sure our English boys do well in domestic competition, so then we can get ourselves back into Europe. But to be honest, we shouldn't be relying on AF anyway. I think if Newcastle were to get Europe this season, we've got to do our own way. I don't think we should be relying on all these different technicalities to come in our favour. We've got to do our own jobs. I think if we're finishing 8th in the table and we just missed out because of all these technicalities coming into play, I still think we've probably got ourselves to blame, to be honest, because we haven't turned up in some of these games this season, and now it's such a big ask when we actually are playing a lot better. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, guys. I've hopefully explained that as well as I possibly can be, but clarify one more time, we need obviously English teams to do well in the Champions League, and we need Man City to win the FA Cup. So the European positions in domestic competitions would then trickle down into 8th because of how the Europa League would actually work with the Premier League. So keep an eye on that. Take care, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll see you all in the next one.